Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Anna, Jana, and from Anchor Mind and Body, and Dr. Heather Auld and Dr. Teresa Spano from Southwest Florida Integrative Medicine, joining together today for a discussion about health and current concerns around the COVID-19 issues we're having globally, but specific maybe to some other things. So Jana, take it away.
Well, I wanted to talk to Dr. Auld about wearing masks and protective eye gear, which is being promoted right now, and if that's something that we should be doing, and if we are doing it, how do we take care of those new medical pieces that we as average consumers are not used to wearing on a daily basis? So Dr. Auld, could you educate us, please?
Well, you know, unless you're having direct patient contact, you don't have to have one of those really good masks. This I got at the feed store, the local feed store. And what it does, it protects other people from you because of our droplets. But if everybody's wearing it, then everyone's going to be protected from each other. So, you know, just get one that you can wash and wear, and that's all you really need. Now, if you're going to be in front of patients, it's a whole different thing. You will need the eye protection. You will need a denser mask that's probably a non-reusable mask. The ones like these that are made out of cloth, they're only good to protect you or protect other people from your secretions.
So if you do have the kind that you buy from Amazon, like I have some of the cheap paper kind, should I just throw it away after I use it, or can I reuse that mask?
Well, yeah. So those are the kinds that we would typically wear during surgery. And again, we would change those out after each surgery because you get splatter. If you're not getting splatter on it, again, you don't have to, unless you think that you've come in contact with somebody, then you would just like to discard it, yes. So if you have a box of disposable masks, by all means, keep using them.
Right. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I wasn't too sure. I was going to reuse mine. I thought maybe I was doing something wrong for my own health and other people's. So now that COVID is here, it's in Lee County. And what should we do if we are thinking that we may have some of the symptoms of COVID? Should we wait a couple days? Should we go in immediately? I mean, it's quite confusing because it's so similar to the flu. What advice do you have for us?
Well, as the testing has evolved, so has the recommendations have evolved. So initially, we could only do a test and it would tell you like 8 days later whether or not you had it and you were supposed to self-quarantine. So really, that wasn't a screening test. It's a diagnostic test. Now they have the rapid screening test. And my hope is that we can screen asymptomatic people because that seems to be where the problem lies, is that people that are coughing and spewing, they're staying home, but those people that don't have any symptoms, they're the ones that seem to be transmitting it. So my hope is for the near future, if this doesn't get settled quickly, that we do rapid screening on the asymptomatic population, just like they used to do in the olden days. But also, now we have the antibody screen, which is really good because they're trying to do some old-fashioned medicine, taking the plasma from people that have recovered from the COVID that may have antibodies. And not only are they going to try to make the vaccine from that, but they are administering plasma to those very ill people and having some success, I believe.
They are. They're doing that a lot up in New York City, actually, Mount Sinai Hospital. They're doing that there. I just want to add in, you know, these are great tests. We don't really have access to them yet, though. You know, the rapid ones it's going to take time for those to really roll out. Same thing with the antibody testing. So don't go asking your doctor right now for those tests because it's going to be some time, especially before the antibodies one rolls out. Hopefully much sooner than later, because that's a huge important key to this.
Well, because that was going to be my question. Somebody like me who has a mother to take care of, who's very high risk, I feel like, oh my gosh, I could be asymptomatic and be giving it to her. So at this point, though, the best thing to do is to continue with the strategy we've all been taking.
Right. It really is. At this point, that certainly is the best. And I know there's a lot of people who are wondering, did they have it earlier in their year? You know, so that would be really helpful too. And it would be a nice way to be able to get people back to working, get people back so they can help others, and just make it easier for everybody.
Yes.
I think it's going to have to be a governmental, not individual doctor's offices that do mass screening. So hopefully that will come about.
Okay, great. And Dr. Auld, since your background as OBGYN, what thoughts do you have to share with the mothers who are expecting or those women who are trying to get pregnant during this time? I'm sure a lot of them are already talking to their doctors, but do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, the good news is that pregnant women, even though they're considered immunocompromised, do not seem to be at increased risk to develop COVID. But having said that, women that get COVID while pregnant are much higher risk to have respiratory problems just because they can't take a deep breath as well as non-pregnant women. There has been associated some stillbirths, preterm labor with the COVID for those that have been infected. I don't think that they have a study on it or anything, but the most important thing is avoidance. And, you know, I do feel for those women that have to go to their doctor's appointments without their spouse there. They're trying to limit the number of people that come in contact. I do feel sorry for the doctors that have to gear up with every single patient to examine them. I know that Lee Health had some virtual visits with their telehealth for the pregnant women, but I don't know how they're listening to babies' hearts. I don't know how they're achieving that to everybody's satisfaction. So the good news is that women are not particularly at increased risk to develop it over the general population.
Great. And, you know, that leads to the next area that we wanted to discuss is what supplements should we be avoiding or we should be taking during this time for the average person and, you know, maybe for somebody who's immune compromised, you know, is there a difference?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It's a hot topic right now. So one thing to really keep in mind is this is not medical advice. You know, there are no studies that say, yes, this will definitely protect you, or yes, this will help with treatments, or anything even remotely along those lines. And anything we're talking about right now, you have to talk to your doctor about, you have to talk to your healthcare practitioner about before you start taking it. You know, please just keep that in mind. Can't say it enough, this is not medical advice. I can tell you some of the things that I'm doing and some of the research that has been shown from some other similar types of viruses that have gone around. So, you know, there's some interesting research about melatonin right now, maybe as one of the theories as to why some people aren't as affected as others, because as far as we know, children seem to be more protected, not completely immune by any means, but at least more protected from developing COVID and some of the complications. So that's one of the theories. So perhaps melatonin is actually a protecting aspect to it. It's an antioxidant. And it also has been shown in some studies, again, not COVID related, but some other previous studies with viruses, that it can help to prevent lung inflammation and injury too. So that's really interesting. Vitamin C. You know, vitamin C is a huge one. Vitamin C IV has actually been going around as a potential complementary treatment, so to speak, for COVID patients. In China, they've used it. Up in New York, I believe they're starting to use it. There's a naturopathic doctor, Dr. Paul Anderson, who is really pushing out the information about IV vitamin C. He's been doing it for forever, and he actually teaches a lot. He's a fantastic resource for vitamin C and the guidance for that. Obviously, that's IV vitamin C, but doing oral vitamin C is helpful as well. Vitamin C is difficult to find right now, of course, as a supplement form. So, you know, eat your fruits and veggies. That's one of the best things you can do above and beyond anything else. So making sure you're getting good vitamin C that way. Antioxidants in general, obviously, are going to be really helpful. Glutathione support, NAC, you know, there's been, again, some research about perhaps like stinging nettle, andrographis historically, elderberry historically. There's a lot of herbs and nutrients that we have looked at in the past, again, for other viruses that do seem to be more protective and helpful. Vitamin A, vitamin D, all of those are potentially really helpful here. Selenium, the list can kind of go on and on. And the hard part is, who do you recommend what to? Because obviously if you have an autoimmune condition or if you're more susceptible, you're taking certain medications, that puts you at a different category than the average person might be in. And then again, on top of this too, trying to find these products. So that's one thing I really want to emphasize. You can do a lot through your everyday life to reduce to help to support yourself. So again, eating your fruits and veggies, eating you know, the good carbohydrates, not just relying on sugar to get you through and alcohol, because all those things actually suppress your immune system. You know, I'll never forget when I was in school being taught about sugar, and they called it lazy leukocytes, because it does actually affect your ability for your white blood cells to actually go and attack what's going on. So, you know, again, there are some supplements that are showing some promise that may be beneficial, but don't go just start taking all these things. Just, you know, more research will come as we go, and really focus on your food. Drink water, drink green tea. Green tea is an antioxidant, it's really preventative. Really focus on all of that. Quercetin, I mean, the list can go on and on and on. All these things really are present in foods and drinks.
But also one thing is that you made a big list and all of them are really wonderful, but don't take them all at the same time.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. No, I'm saying don't take them, period. Okay, so you guys, you have to talk to someone first. Never once did I say go take all these. So you have to talk to someone who knows about these things. Okay, so not everybody knows about them. Not everybody studies them. So it's really important to talk to somebody who has studied them and who does have knowledge about different herbs, different supplements. There's no one product that's perfect for everybody, okay? That's just impossible. It's not how the world works. So really just make sure you talk to someone. There's plenty of people out there who can help you through this. You know, there's integrative doctors, naturopathic doctors. There's tons of people out there who can help you through this. So don't just go guessing. Don't go buying supplements off of Amazon. Don't go, you know, doing something because you read about it on Facebook or anything else. Just talk to people. Keep the lines of communication open. That's how we're going to all get through this together.
Dr. Spano, speaking of the supplements and do's and don'ts, you did mention that you could clue us in onto some of the things that you're doing. Can we just zero in for a moment on what you do with vitamin C?
Yeah, sure. So it kind of depends on the day and the moment and everything like that. So I'm kind of mixing up the supplements that I'm doing around, but I'm also being really, 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 really good about what I'm eating. And I know what foods work well for me and what foods don't. So that's first and foremost. One of the things that I would say that's probably actually been the biggest game changer for me really is taking, I don't know which one it is. I don't know that I can attribute to just one of these things, but I am sleeping better than I've ever slept in my entire life. And I attribute that to an indica tincture that I'm doing at night to keep me asleep, because I am a horrible sleeper. So I did my cannabis certification, and one of our fantastic educators helped me find a product that worked well for me. And I'm also doing a melatonin at night. It's a hemp blend melatonin, 3 milligrams. So I'm doing that at night. Again, I can't say which one it is, I think for sure, but I'm sleeping better than ever, and that's a huge part of the immune system. So I'm doing that. I'm taking vitamin C, which I normally do take anyway, kind of here and there. I am taking some astragalus, some elderberry, keeping my probiotics up. There's a range of different probiotics. I have Crohn's disease, history of it, so I make sure that I take all those religiously. And then it kind of just depends, you know, on the day. Like those are the ones that I'm definitely taking. And then some days I'll take something a little bit differently. Some stinging nettle that I have. Some day I'll take some NAC. I'm not taking any vitamin D, of course, vitamin A. My omegas. It just kind of depends on the day that what I'm particularly taking.
Dr. Auld, do you have input on vitamin C or anything else that you personally are doing or seeing?
Well, you know, we all have our little areas that are our Achilles heel, as you might say. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's always been my sinuses. So I have to really focus on that. So I take my quercetin, I take stinging nettle, I take the Ultraflora Immune, which is specific for the probiotics in your nasal passages, believe it or not. And it really, I feel like that has helped me more than anything. But I also think that maybe Dr. Spano can talk about, you keep talking about the cytokine storm like they just invented it. And the cytokine storm, you know, there's a inflammatory cascade. And so taking your omega-3s, on a daily basis to decrease inflammation. So I have said it over and over again, everything in our world is either inflammatory or non-inflammatory. So everything that you're doing for your body that she said, you know, eating well, sleeping well, getting the proper nutrition as far as antioxidants and things like that are really, really important. But then also attacking the inflammation, and your omega-3, your fish oils are really good.
Yeah, and as far as the cytokine storm, there's a lot of attention with that with elderberry. which is traditionally a fantastic herb for a cold and flu season. And theoretically, you know, it's looked at that it potentially could increase cytokines. However, there's no concrete data at all that says that that really could induce the cytokine storm. It's not really in the way that it works. It's not powerful enough to do that. The way that it works is it's in a different sense. So really the general consensus is that elderberry is okay. Again, not necessarily for every single person out there. And people who do have autoimmune disease, they really do have to be careful about, you know, boosting your immune system. Anybody with autoimmune disease, it's a different category. You can't just go taking all these things that really can help with that. Because again, it's individualized. It's different for everybody. Even the medications that they're really studying to look at what might be beneficial for the pharmaceutical medications, even with that, you know, you have to be careful. It's not going to be one size fits all for this. It's going to be a lot of different pieces that get put together.
Such good advice, because I walked into a popular health food store where I do pick up some of the things that you guys recommend to me, since you are my physicians, and the other things I order from the online pharmacies that you have connected me to. And it was funny because I said, you know, on the online pharmacy that I'm connected to, I cannot get vitamin C. So I'm looking for vitamin C, but I just told the lady flat out, I said, I want your highest quality vitamin C. I want something with a high uptake in my system. I know it's water soluble. I'm going to get rid of what I don't use. I don't care. Show me the best of what you have. And she said, well, in my opinion, I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder how many times, it just rolled off her tongue, and I'm not being critical, but she started out with, in my opinion. And I thought, well, I wanted to say, well, where does your opinion come from? But I didn't go there. But, so she's like, I think I would go with the ester C. Yeah. And she gave me her opinion why. And so I think we do have to be careful.
Yeah, you do. And with vitamin C too, some people can tolerate it a lot better than others. And especially with the amounts, the good thing with vitamin C, if you take too much, usually you'll just get bowel intolerance. So your body will tell you, hey, you've had enough. But it's interesting too, when you get sick, your ability to actually uptake more vitamin C increases. So if you do get sick, your body can tolerate a lot more vitamin C than it normally could. And the other thing I want to point out too, because we haven't touched on it too much, but the other thing that's really been, I guess, quote unquote controversial is the fever that can accompany COVID or any illness for that matter. But, especially with naturopath medicine, we're always taught, your body can help with the healing itself, not necessarily, obviously, in every single situation, but your fever is actually a defense mechanism by your body to kill off what is going on. So obviously, a fever can get too high, and you have to know at that point, you have to do something about it. But for the minor fevers, we really should be letting them ride, because that's our body doing what it's supposed to be doing. If we're suppressing a fever too soon, too early, our body's not doing what it's made to do. So obviously there's a point in which you have to address it, but at the same time, if it's a lower fever, let it go. Keep your eye on it, keep taking your temperature. And the other important thing is to hydrate. Make sure you're extremely well hydrated. You really need extra electrolytes, you need extra minerals. You really need to push your water. I know it's not always the most, when you're sick, you don't feel well, the last thing you kind of want to do sometimes is eat or drink, but that's the time when it's most important really to push your water and your minerals and electrolytes to help to replete what you've been depleted of.
Okay. Well, and that actually leads to another question I had. There's been a lot of controversy around acetaminophen versus ibuprofen. So if you are having body aches and if you do have, more than just a slight fever, what is the recommendation right now for over-the-counter?
Tylenol.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely Tylenol in this case. If you had to choose between the two, because ibuprofen is definitely more controversial. Tylenol, obviously, in a perfect world, we'd say here and say don't take anything, but it's not realistic. So Tylenol definitely seems to be the safer of the two choices there.
Okay. That's good.
Well, and I have one last question. I didn't know, Dr. Spano, not to put you on the spot, but maybe there's a fun mocktail recipe that you have that is, to replace the nightly wine with something that's healthy that boosts our immune system. Do you have any idea of something that people may want to have?
Yeah, sure. So, okay, so I have a few. So first, obviously we all love our tea. I saw Dr. Auld with her tea. I have my tea sitting here as well. So I love herbal teas, especially at night. That's usually my go-to. Kombucha is fantastic. I love kombucha. So that also has good probiotics in there. So I like to sip on that throughout the day. And then the other thing that I used to do it a lot more, and I've started to redo it again, we call it Kava Cocktails. So I add a little bit of kava that I have. It's in a tincture actually, and I add it to it's a little bit of a juice. And I just kind of have that at night, and that's like my replacement. Those are my go-tos. It's anything, for me, it's always, I'm more of an anxious person. For me, it's always harder to kind of calm down. So for me, it's always things that can help with relaxation. So the soothing herbal teas and my kava cocktail, and I'm set. No alcohol.
Get kava right now.
So I got mine through the online store that we use, basically, through Elevate, and I got my through Gaia Herbs tincture, and I got it actually when all this started. I made sure to restock my kava. So it's like, I know I'm probably going to need some of that soon, but so that's what I've been using for myself at night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I have a new wine. And you're drinking wine? Is that what you said? What has antioxidants? Right?
Okay, so there is some research that, we talked about it a little bit before with Dr. Diadamo, who's a naturopathic doctor with blood type. And in Dr. Auld's defense, I have to say, I do believe that red wine is a superfood for people who are type A blood type. So you might be okay there, Dr. Auld.
That's right. So yeah, the blood type, again, that's a whole nother thing, you know.
Okay. Well, that's all I had to ask. Anna, do you have any other questions that you want to ask?
Not right now. I was over here taking some notes. So I appreciate all the amazing information, and I'm sure anybody that watches this Zoom meeting will be doing the same thing. And we appreciate your expertise and sharing it, and yeah, just being free with whatever information that you have for us that is good for us.
Well, if I had to summarize everything, is that with what's going on right now, it's a trigger for all of us to take our life, not our life, but our health more seriously. And if we want to have the best immune defense possible, we need to reach out to somebody like Dr. Spano or Dr. Auld. And so that's why, you know, folks, if you're confused about what to take, you probably should be. You know, you shouldn't be taking all of this. And this is why you need to meet with somebody like Dr. Auld and Dr. Spano, so they can help guide you on which supplements that are specific for you, so you're not over supplementing and wasting your money or potentially harming yourself too. So,
well, to give ourselves a plug, but if people need a telemedicine conference to do this, we can do that. We're not going into the office until the 30th of April, after the 30th. So if they feel like they really are anxious or really need some counseling, we can be glad to do that.
And they should just call your office number to set up an appointment, or do they go online? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, we'll include your phone number in the post as well then.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for having us. And thank you too for
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you, everybody.